They're everywhere. So I can only do 2 to 3 a month. Because it can be spendy, and I've got 1,030 of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I might teach myself how to do it somewhere, but not
You know
today.
what? It's very difficult to edit and all that stuff. It's crazy. I have a kid editing my podcast, but you can get a lot of this done overseas for like $15. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I know people that have done it, and they get these people to edit their podcasts and everything for like 15, $20 an episode. I pay a guy 50, you know.
My guy is 20.
Yeah, see, that's a lot, and but he's a good kid. He adds some stuff in. But I might, if it gets any more expensive, we got to cut back too. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I would do it myself, but I did it, and it's tremendously time consuming.
Who's got the time for that?
And that I rather write comedy.
Me too. Oh my gosh. All the things we have to do now, you have to be your own promoter, your own booker.
You do. And a lot of these, and I know Helene does a lot of these shows that you got to bring bringers and stuff, and they don't let you on it. I can't do that anymore. I just can't do it. I mean, I bring people anyway, but to say like the Gotham, I got some guest spots at the Gotham because I did some favors for some people, and but it's difficult.
It is.
To bring these people, and then it's a lot.
Yeah, after a while, everybody starts, getting to where they're like, okay, I'm done with the bringers. I have some value. I have people, and they come because they want to. So book me because I have a following.
Exactly.
And I'm funny. I don't need to be a bringer.
Right. Well, I know people have to see you first to get to know your comedy and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's why I'm producing a lot of my own shows. In Florida, I'll do a lot of private stuff in like a lot of these communities, so that's good. Um, and I've played a lot of these comedy clubs. Just love getting up.
So awesome. You guys, this is Comic Spot. My videos are eventually going to go everywhere that podcasts go except 7-Eleven on camera too. You won't see it there unless I'm uploading it. Then you'll see it when you're drinking a big gulp. But I got to tell you, I've got a great guest on here today. I know him in real life, and we've been buddies on Facebook virtually for a while. We have friends in common, so we're almost related. So let me say who my guest is. And these interviews are not for me to talk about my life. They're for my guests. Why am I doing that? I'm doing that so that those of you who take the time to listen to these interviews will get to know and love the people I'm interviewing, not me. I want you to follow my guests, follow their career, show up wherever they're performing. Just don't stalk them. That's so last decade. Yeah, don't stalk them. Just go and promote their comedy, share what they post, show up when they're performing, because you're going to get to know and love each guest. And today's guest is Larry Izzo. Let me read you the intro. The intro is just like the tip of the Titanic iceberg thingamajiggy. Okay, here we go. Larry Izzo. Ex-exterminator, comedian, host of the Thrill of the Kill podcast, and host of Laughs with Larry Cooking with Comics. I know those are fun. So you guys, welcome to the stage right now, the incredibly talented and well-traveled living legend that is Larry Izzo. Let's get to know who he is off stage so you help his career on stage. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for that intro. That was fantastic.
Thank you, Larry. You're in New York. Tell everybody where you live, how the pandemic's been going. How's your life?
Oh, my God. Well, we got locked down here in New York. I live in Seaford, Long Island now. I did the American dream. I was born in Brooklyn, moved to Queens, then moved to Long Island. And yeah, so that's where we are. The pandemic was absolutely ridiculous. Nobody did anything. As comics, we were afraid to go on stage. Nobody would even go to a club. Clubs were closed. So it was a nightmare. I think people lost something during that time. I did a lot of writing at that time, though. That was good to sit back and to write, and have all that time to do it, just
Yeah.
nobody to perform it to. And then they started with the FaceTime shows and and that type of stuff. So it was good, you know.
Did you
And that,
partake?
the Zoom shows are a little tough because there's no laughter other than the comics laughing. So it's very difficult. It's like going to an open mic when you're sitting in front of comics and they're thinking about their own stuff as you're doing your stuff, and they're going, yeah, that was all right.
Yeah, it's really difficult, I'll tell you, boy. But you did some of it, right?
We did what?
You did some of the Zoom shows.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have done them.
Yeah.
Not a fan, but I do them.
Yeah.
Uh,
What was the top two, what were the top two benefits of you doing them that you never thought, never was, that shocked you?
Well, I think I met a lot of different people, a lot of different comics I didn't know. And also, I think that it was good practice, It was like an open mic, and you didn't have to go out to do it because, like I said, everything was closed down. So
Yes,
and it's good to interact with people. You need that in life,
do. Oh my
We
God.
did, and I know we had some fun the last time we were together. We did a show for the seniors. It was a free comedy show, and I love doing that, for seniors, for soldiers, to give back something, At my age, if I haven't made it by now, you want to give back something, you know what I mean? We've already made
You,
our bones.
you had me on your live show with a lot of
Yes,
my close friends. I can't thank you
yes.
enough. What a
Oh,
great audience, Larry. All
it was.
seniors.
It was a great audience. We had like 60 people there.
It felt like 200.
And it was a senior show, so we had a couple of ambulances on avail. No, it's all good.
There was a Medicare lady outside with a booth.
Did you? Yeah, there was.
Did you hire her?
We did, but I didn't want to make it obvious.
She should pay you.
Right.
Oh my
Told
gosh.
the ambulance to turn off the flashing lights. It was nothing.
That was a fun show, very fun. And that was the
Was it?
first time I got to see you in front of a live audience. So that was
Oh,
fabulous because you were the headliner and you knocked it out of the park.
well, thank you so much for that. That's really good. It's nice to hear the feedback because you listen to your own stuff, and after a while you say your own routine so many times you start saying so, is that funny? I don't think it's funny anymore. And then you go up and you say your first line and people laugh and you go, okay, get out of it. But yeah,
Yes, yes.
I think
So
it's
how, tell me about, let's go back in time to little Larry when you were growing up, when you were around your family. Paint us a picture what you were like inside of your family and paint us a picture the early years in school.
I was always a comedian in school, and the family, we always had, like I would always you remember this character. He was on the Jackie Gleason show. He was the drunk guy. He used to Joe the bartender and
Yes,
Mr. Dunahee, that guy. So I did him. My grandfather had a hat. I used to put it on and start doing imitations of him. And I did imitations of like Cagney and Peter Lorre and stuff like people that nobody knows. And so and that was like, but I never thought of it like doing it as a career. And in my family life, it was always laughs. My father was a very funny guy, always loving family, had a stay-at-home mother. We were poor, we lived in Brooklyn, but I think it was fun. We had a fun life. I can't explain it, but today people have everything and they're not happy. We were happy with nothing. So it was all fun. And then as we got older, I went into the exterminating business. I went into the service for 6 years, but by 23 years old, I had done everything. I was in a co-op program in high school. I worked on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange when I was 16. Yeah, and I did that till I was 18, work a week, went to school a week. And then I went into the Air Force Reserves. Didn't have to. I was in, my number was 350. I said, I got to do something. So I did that. And
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for your
oh, you see, it
service.
was, sometimes you don't think you did enough, but it was, I was still pleasurable doing it. And I look back at that time very fondly. Had a great time, had great experiences. And, and my wife Noreen was asked to go on this trip, which was phenomenal. It was a trip when they were building the AR the 22 Rafter, the plane, and we went to Langley and a lot of other Air Force bases to see this thing being built, and we were like a public group going back to the public, telling them that this is a worthwhile project. You know, they wanted this community output. You know, so we did that, and I got to sit in the what was it, 35? Oh my God, I can't even remember the plane, but it was a transport plane. We refueled F-14s in the air, and I got to lay in a cockpit and do all that with the gentleman, and it was a fantastic trip. So it was.
So when you were in the service, what was your job title?
I was a fuelie at first. Refueled the planes, and then I was in the civil engineers, and that was my favorite love, working backhoes, bulldozers, and that was my love. Yeah, I love heavy duty equipment, so I do. Then I
So,
came. Yeah, sorry.
so around your family, you were funny, a joker in school.
Always a joke, class clown.
So tell me something that you did at home or at school or both that locked you in as the funny guy.
It was in school. My English teacher was pregnant, and I said something very funny. I think I hit myself in the head. I threw a piece of paper at my head and went, "Hey, stop doing that!" You know, and to my friend, and she broke her water, and that and that was it. And she goes, "You should be a comedian." And
Oh,
I didn't even look at it back then. Me and my friends talk about this now. I'm still in touch with some of these childhood friends, and it was just she broke her water, and she did say, "You should be a comedian. You got to be a comedian." I never said, "Yeah, sure," you know.
that's hilarious. How cool is that?
It
Has
was
she know,
cool.
does she know you're doing comedy? She's still around?
No, I lost touch with her after high school, but that would be funny to actually go back and try to find her.
Yeah.
And it was funny is because she was also a teacher. I went to Catholic grammar school, but she was also a teacher in my graphic Catholic grammar school. And I didn't know that till I got to high school because she got married and changed her name and then she was my teacher. She goes, "Oh, I know you." I says, "You don't know me. I don't know you." They all knew me.
Oh my gosh. So now you went out of the service, and what did you do in your life after the service before comedy? And then take us to the choice of comedy and
Okay.
your first times.
I was in the exterminating business. I worked for an exterminator. I was 22 years old, and I worked for him for a year until I realized that he wasn't going to teach me anything. And then I took my own classes, and at that time, all you needed was a license. So I got my license, and I started my own business with $350 in a rocking chair and a shag rug in my living room, and built it into a multi-million-dollar business.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool
Took
is
30
that?
years, but it was fun. The fun was building the business. Once you get there, it's like now I'm not doing exterminating anymore. Now I'm an insurance guy. I'm an accident man. I have to hope everybody is doing the right thing, and you wind up not doing what you really love to do. But it was
Yes.
so fun. I had a great experience.
What made you fall in love with or have a passion for exterminating?
I took it as a part-time job to pay a car off. that I had just bought. I was working for the Seven Santini brothers, not the Circus Act. They were international movers, and I was working for them. I was working for them on the exporting importing side,
Mhm.
and then on the weekends I would ask them if they needed any extra work, and they would get me a moving job, and I would work on the moving trucks. And I just gotten married, so it was like, it was difficult. The rents were high. So, and then that started to not become a thing anymore where, they didn't want me working and exporting and taking a job away from someone else. And I understood that for the moving on Saturday. So I got a job as a part-time job as an exterminator. And the guy liked my work and he hired me. And the first day out, I almost got killed because the guy that he fired was trying to hit on all these women, and their husbands were waiting for me.
Oh my God.
Is that the guy? And they go running down the stairs. No, 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 not the guy. I'm not the guy. I
Oh my.
just started today.
Oh, oh my gosh. You
Oh
almost got
yeah,
exterminated.
but yeah, but that was I loved it business, and once I got the job, I just got intrigued with the insects and solving the problems, and just educated myself. And within a couple of years, I hired my first employee, got a city contract, and that started from there.
When I moved into this apartment, it's small. That's my kitchen. This is my living room and a bedroom. And
Uh,
I had cockroaches behind the fridge, behind the stove. And I know you know your business because you helped me figure out how to get rid of them.
and yes, I did. And I got to tell you, that's just a thing where, it's nothing you did. You probably brought it in from a store, you know. But and that's what happens. You
That's
know,
it. That's
all
it.
you need is, I could go through a whole thing on sanitation, but and that's what I used to enjoy, going into a restaurant and solving their problem. And the restaurant owner would say to me, "Why should I hire you? I just had six guys in, and they're not gonna." I said, "You're gonna hire me because you're not gonna pay me till you're satisfied." That was because I had enough confidence that I know I can solve this guy's problem if they followed my sanitation report.
Wow.
So I took that career for 30 years and built a nice business, sold it. I was sitting around for a couple of years. I started another business, which I could not do because it was a business called factoring. And you would lend people money and attach that money to your receivables. And then once you realize that this gentleman or company could not pay you back, that's like, how can you even do that? So I told that company, I can't do this. And I'm sitting around and I knew I had to do something. So I decided to take a comedy class. And then my wife got me a comedy class. I took a comedy class in the school, Manhattan School of Comedy. And Karen Bergreen, I don't know if you know her.
I know the name.
Oh, she's a sweetheart, one of the best teachers ever. And then I wound up performing with her, which was really cool to perform with your teacher.
I guess.
And it was a good experience. Yeah. And so from there, I took a couple other classes, some improv classes, and I worked with a gentleman called Rick Chrome. And you have to know Rick. He is one of the best. He's in a play right now, The Bedwetter. I saw the play, and he's great. And I do write with him occasionally.
It's
Rick is
amazing.
Rick is a great. He's an amazing guy, and what a fun man to work with. I can't say enough about him. And anybody that wants to write comedy, you write it, he'll tweak it, and he's great. He really is. So I work with him sometimes, and that's it. So I
So
went
tell,
from there. I took another comedy class, and then, as I said, my wife bought me another comedy class, and then I just went from there. You know.
so tell me about some of the greatest moments of you being on stage or being in the audience with other comedians performing. I want to hear some of your wisdom from being in the comedy scene.
Well, I've learned, how to handle hecklers from Jeffrey Gorrigan, who is a great interviewer as well. He was on my cooking show, Cooking with Comics, along with a lot of other people you know. That we put on pause after because of the pandemic, but we're going to get back to it because that was a fun time. We cook, we eat, but we cook. We have an audience in the house. It's a fun time. We really have a good time. So some of the things that I've learned that people have been gracious to me, helped me out. I all I did was have to ask. And then sometimes when you get to a certain point, you ask people, they get insulted that you asked them to be on their show. I don't know. I got people asking me all the time, and I put them on if you know. So it's a little bit different. But when you're working with other comics and you see them belly laugh, I think that is the absolute joy, you know. Or when
Totally.
you work with somebody like your teacher and she goes, you know, you're good, you know, that's a joy as well, you know.
Yes. What kind of tips, say there's somebody watching that's thinking about doing comedy or just started, what warnings would you give them from your years of experience?
The warnings I would give them, I think everybody has to go through their own stuff because just be careful that you don't get sucked into schools that, you know, go to a reputable school. I would recommend, you know, Karen Berg-Green at the, you know, Manhattan School of Comedy. I recommend Rick Chrome. I recommend Joe DeVito as a private writers, and they run classes as well. Uh, it's just, you know, be careful because you also have to understand that club owners have a responsibility and bookers to get, I'm going to say it, asses in the seats. Okay. And I think you have to respect that. But also, you know, you're not going to be able to get everybody and all your friends to come every time.
Yeah.
There are people that you can pay to come. You know, there's an organization that you could actually reach out to. They get people that would want a night out and they put their name on this list and they'll have 3 or 4 people. You pay them and then you pay their fee in. They get a free comedy show. Depends how you set it up. Um, but it's difficult to bring bringers all the time. And in the beginning, that's what you have to do. And I think that anybody that thinks they can sit back, I mean, maybe when you're younger, I started very late. So I think if you're going to sit back and think you can write your own comedy without a little help, even if it's from your friends that have been in the industry for a long time, there's different ways of looking at comedy. But to think that you can do it on your own and I can write, I'm funny around the water cooler, maybe you are, but very few people are Dave Chappelle and Richard Lewis and all these guys that, you know, that really were just natural. To Eddie Murphy, and even Eddie Murphy did, you know, jokes for somebody else's for a year that he was in. He robbed Richard Pryor. That's what he did.
Wow.
But
No
yeah,
way.
but it was respect, you know.
Yeah.
And look at what
Whoa.
he turned out, and he turned out to be one of the greatest comics. Yeah.
He is fabulous. There's so many great comedians out there. How do you encourage comedians that are starting to stay in their own lane and be patient? Everybody seems to be in a hurry.
Don't everybody's in a hurry. This generation is in a hurry. Everybody's in a hurry to become president of a company when you work there for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's true though. So I feel that you have to be patient, but you also have to be a little aggressive. You know where you are in comedy, and you know, don't go out to book you know, the Gotham if you know, don't have, you know, you have to work your way up to certain things. And by joining a class, they also make videos of you. You should record everything you do, whether it's, you know, recording just the audio or the audio and video. But the video you should record as well. Buy yourself a little stand or whatever, and you should do that tripod because you have to see how you facially work, how you move on stage, and it's hard to do in front of a mirror. You do that, but then you have to see it on camera and see what the other people are saying, you know.
Yes.
I recommend that. I recommend classes, and I recommend if you know, hook yourself up with a comedian. Follow them. somebody that you like in New York. I mean, I have several friends that, are very gracious to me and help me out. Jackie the Joke Man Martling is one of them. Pat Dixon has been one of them. He had the crime report. I was on his crime report several times. Um, with the Kumia Studios, and Helene Witt was on with me. She always corrected my verbiage because she's a English teacher. She go, "You don't say it like that. I talk Brooklynese. What do you want me to tell you?"
She calls me a watered down half Jew from Oregon.
There you go. And when I write with Rick Chrome, he's like, "I can't believe it. Is that a word?" Yeah, in my neighborhood, it was a word. But it's great. But yeah, this business isn't as infectious as the pest control business was for me. Of course, when you're older, you're like starting over. So you have to have the juice. And sometimes, and that's why you say, to the younger people, don't get discouraged. As an older person, you get more discouraged because, young comics ain't eager to have you on their show because they have a younger audience and they don't want to hear about menopause or anything that I talk about. Or then you got the dog lovers that they don't want to hear me go through my dog routine. But
I want to hear your menopause routine.
oh, okay. I can't
I'm
give it to
tired
you
of
now.
mine.
Well, I'll just tell you, it's very torture. It's torture for a man
I bet. That's
with a woman.
funny. That's
Yeah,
funny.
and
So,
yeah.
so you've given a lot to us by telling us your insights and tips. So now I want to switch the tables and have you ask the audience where they can help you. Now you've said that you in your intro, this thing won't cooperate with me. Just a second. The Thrill of the Kill podcast. Tell me what the premise focus of that is.
Well, the thrill to kill came from pest control because it was a thrill to kill, and you has a thrill to kill in comedy. So there you go. Ergo, thrill of the kill. I interview exterminators, comedians, and anyone that's killing in any business. If they're killing in real estate, if they're killing, and it's fun. And we have some, you do it in a fun way where we do some current events. Then we ask people their bug stories that they might have in their life that they've experienced. And it usually turns out to be a fun thing. We do a pest point part of the show where I do something on insects or rodents, and we give people some information. And my ex-exterminator rap song is in there. We throw that in the intro and at the end. And anybody that wants to view that, they can view that on YouTube or follow me on Facebook at Larry Izzo, where a lot of my stuff is listed. Um, Laughs with Larry Cooking with Comics on YouTube. You'll get all the cooking shows. A lot of good.
Talk to us about your Laughs with Larry Cooking with Comics. I know Helene Witt's been on it. That was an hysterical episode. She's so great in the moment, but would you mind telling me and everybody that's going to listen about the cooking show, even though it's been on hold, but it's coming back. So
it's coming back. It's coming back. But the cooking show basically is to have comics come on the show and cook up their favorite recipe or something that their aunt or mother or grandmother taught them how to make. And usually it turns out to be pretty good. And sometimes if they don't know how to, like, look, I don't even know, I don't think I can make eggs. Then I'll think of a recipe and we'll cook it and we'll go through it. And but it's always a fun time, And then we play a game during the show, which is usually something with ping pong balls, blowing them off a cup into another cup, or something like that. You got to watch the shows. Karen Bergreen has been on. Jackie Martling has been on. Oh my God, Regina Chico has been on. Jeffrey Gorrigan's been on. Helene has been on. Oh my God, there's so many. John Peasy was an amazing ventriloquist. He was on, and he did magic, which was fantastic. So it's really a fun show.
That's so great. I love it. So
you got to fly in. We'll have you on.
Okay, I'm coming back middle of November.
Well, hopefully we'll be back up by then.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. So how do people follow the cooking show? It's on your YouTube or
It's on YouTube. It's on my website, which is LarryIzzoComedian.com. Um, it's on YouTube, Laughs with Larry, Cooking with Comics. You can find it on my Facebook page. And basically, that's where it is. I'm
super?
starting to put smaller clips. I'm doing this rap video about exterminating because I thought it was kind of cool. And I just put 3 parts on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that in 3 different sections of the original video. Now I'm just going to make one on bed bugs. People love to hear about bed bugs. And sometimes I'll throw it into my act. I'll put the Rum DMC uniform on, the Adidas with the hat and the chains, and I'll do the rap song at the end of my set, or come back out and somebody will say, and now we have with us Larry Izzo, the ex-exterminator, and I'll do the rap song, and people love it. It's like something else, something different.
I don't understand why there's only bed bugs in New York. Like no other place do they say I wouldn't get that at a garage sale. It could have bed bugs.
Oh, I doubt that very much. I think Vegas has got to have bed bugs. There's so many transient people coming back and forth.
Now we have
There's
widespread chlamydia
well, that too.
in the beds.
In the beds. What are you gonna do? That's why you got to go in with a black light, pick up some sperm samples. They we did that one time. I'll tell you because in exterminating, you have a black light because I looked for urine in meat casings I don't want to get gross on your show, but in meat casings in supermarkets with the rodents, they run across them at night and urinate on them. So we used to we used to do inspections and take the black light and pick it up and have them throw out the meat, and stuff like that. It used to be wild. Sometimes thousands of dollars worth of meat be destroyed.
You
But
said before we started going live here on Facebook
yeah.
today, you said you have some other things, and I know our half hour is up, but
Oh,
way before we sign off, tell us what else you've got going. You said something about a rap song. What else? Tell us about what else you have going on.
well, we got some shows going on. I'll be doing another show July 28th at Celebs and Stars in where you performed as well. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a dinner show. So you're going to have a triple play spectacular event. That's what we call it. You're going to have music, food. We bring a DJ in, and we're going to have music, food, and comedy. And where can you go for $59.99
Wow,
and have that? So,
that's
and
awesome.
one night, doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. I'll put it out there, and definitely hope everybody can make it. And that's in Valley Stream, New York. I'm not sure the address. I think it's 120 something. Anyway, it'll be out on my thing, but it's Celebs and Stars in Valley Stream, New York.
And you have a rap song that's coming out.
I gotta have another rap song that's coming out. It's called the Ex-Exterminator Bedbug Rap. That's what it's gonna be. And it's all about rap music, bed bugs, but it teaches you some things. And folks, when you go to a hotel, I don't care where you go, bring a flashlight and check out the mattress before you go to bed. And never put your clothes in those drawers. Never. Live out of,
Really?
oh, never. My wife did one time. I freaked out. I said, pack it up, pack it up.
Wow.
Yeah, I keep everything in a suitcase. I bring a lot of Downy spray, the wrinkle-free stuff, so you don't have to.
That is so cool to know. I wouldn't have thought of that. Don't put your
Well,
stuff in the drawers.
never put your stuff in the drawers and always protect yourself. You know, hang your stuff up, yes, but your suitcase should always be on one of those tables that they have to open your suitcase and live out of it if you can.
What about walking barefoot on their rug?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I don't really walk barefoot. You know, it's very difficult to walk barefoot in a hotel, you know.
It is. It
It's
is.
like, yeah. And being in the service, you know, they always teach you good foot care, you know. So we never took a shower without flip-flops on in the service. And I'm sorry when I go to hotels, I don't step in the shower without a flip-flop.
That's smart.
Yeah,
Very smart.
that's one thing
Well,
the military taught me. That's one thing the
yes.
military taught me, as opposed to fueling planes and running backhoes and bulldozers.
I love all the things I learned in basic training. They last a lifetime.
I have to tell you, that was the best time of my life.
Me too.
I was in shape. I was I didn't know how good a shape I was in until I started doing these things, and then seeing other people that couldn't. The only thing I couldn't do was run. And I remember my drill sergeant running backwards at me, and he was hitting me in the head. My cap was hitting his, you know, Smokey the Bear cap, and he was going, "If you don't make this, you better give your soul to God, because your ass is going to be mine." And I made that mile, and I think 6.5 minutes was an eight.
Oh, that's a good time frame.
Yeah. Well, I also had a good trainer. He was 6'6". My best friend was 6'6". I'm 5'8". So every time I took a pace, it was three of his pace. You know, he took one pace, it was three of mine, you know. And he paced
You
me.
go in on the buddy system?
We did. We
Oh,
did.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Are you
There was
still in
supposed to be
contact with
three
that?
of us. There was supposed to be three of us. Only two of us did it. The other guy, he saw his number and he didn't want to go. And I said, nah, what the hell? We'll have some fun and learn some stuff. I learned a tremendous amount of stuff, though. Tools, just so much stuff. We used to
Yeah.
put down heliports, you know, and build patios and build helicopter revetment pads so these helicopters can land and then take them up and do it again next year. You know, it was a lot of fun, but
I hope.
a lot of good work. Everybody should do it. I firmly believe that every kid out of high school, get out of your mother's house, join the reserves, join something, because without the draft, we have nothing. God forbid something happens. Join the reserves, learn something, get something under your belt, and learn how to do your own laundry.
Thank you so much, Larry Izzo. Is there a parting thought you want to make besides that before we sign off?
Yes, never give up on anything. I don't care how old you are. To me, not having the best education, I guess, I had more of a street education than I graduated high school. That was it. But I think the education I had doing everything else in my life brought me to where I am today. And you just don't give up and never let an opportunity pass you by. If
Absolutely.
someone asked you to do something and someone wants to interview for your job, it's only time. You never know where it leads to. And that's my advice to everybody.
I love that. I love that. Yesterday, this is the only time I'm taking time to talk about me, but it's really not about me. It's about what you just said. I was at the airport waiting to fly home, and I noticed a man talking to a veteran. And they were talking, and then it ended. And the guy said to his son, he served in Vietnam. And so I went up to the guy that said that, and I said, that's so cool that you stopped to thank him for his service and that he's special to you because he's a Vietnam veteran, and that you're teaching it to your son. And out of that interaction, this man does comedy tours worldwide to the military. So then he and I had an interchange, and he took my card, said he'll be in touch. So you never know who you're talking to.
Absolutely, Linda. And I got to tell you, I would love to do something like that too. You can give him my number. I would love to do something like that for the troops anywhere.
You're at the top of my list. I'll tell you that, Larry
Thank
Izzo.
you, honey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully I'll hear from him. But if not, I know where to get him. I know where to get him.
We know where to find everybody.
I'm a woman. Can I
There you
say?
go.
I can stalk you if you want
There
me
you
to. I recommend you call me, but it's okay. I'll
It's
find you.
okay. You're flexible.
Okay, whatever. Thanks, Larry. Bye.
Linda, lovely time. Thank you so much. Have a
Lovely
great
time.
weekend.
Bye,
Talk to you
Larry.
soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.